In Memphis, National Guard troops and more than 30 local, state, and federal agencies have descended upon the streets of that city as a result of the orders of the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald the Con Trump, of course, partner with Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. The order has some folks in Memphis saying the effort has made them feel less safe, describing indiscriminate and intimidating encounters with law enforcement. As of October 29th, the task force reports 1,744 arrests. Officials admit they do not track the racial demographics of those stopped or detained. Folks at ProPublica published an article called "I Don't Feel Safe. Black Memphis Residents Report Harassment by Trump's Police Task Force." Wendy Thomas is one of the investigative reporters on the story. Wendy joins us right now. Wendy, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks, Roland.
All right, so what the hell is going on?
Well, we're about a month in now to the Safe Memphis Task Force, Memphis Safe Task Force, which has been on the ground since September 29th. We're talking about 31 law enforcement agencies, everything ranging from Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency to FBI, ATF, all your alphabet boys here in Memphis, ostensibly to fight violent crime. But what we found out from our reporting is that a lot of regular, ordinary folks are getting ensnared in those task force operations, just as folks are going about their daily business.
Okay, so and see, this is the same thing happened in D.C. So the setup is, they're coming to focus on violent crime, and they end up making a whole bunch of small arrests.
Yeah, we're seeing some of that same thing here. The data, as you mentioned in the intro, coming out from the task force is really spotty, and so it's hard to get a complete picture of what's going on. But some of the data that we do have show that this is about maybe 2 weeks ago, they had made, I'm going to say around 1,500 arrests, but that's off of, I think it was 800 arrests actually. It was after more than 4,000 traffic stops. And so what we're seeing is there are a lot of traffic stops, usually initiated by Tennessee Highway Patrol, but then the feds are showing up afterwards and going further. And there's a concern that a lot of these stops are pretextual stops.
Okay, and so what are people saying, and are they reporting this to anyone in terms of them feeling unsafe? And so how are they tracking those complaints?
That's a good question, how those complaints are being tracked, because it is so many different federal agencies, and often the federal officers are not wearing identifying clothing. So you don't even know necessarily what agency it is that has stopped you. And so I think that's a barrier to filing complaints. I'm hearing a lot of complaints from folks on the street who are concerned about these stops, but as far as some kind of formal government reporting database, I'm not aware of one.
Okay, here you got, largely black city council. You got a black mayor, Paul Young. We still waiting for him to come on this show to talk about this here. You got black city council members. What are they saying?
Well, the Memphis City Council, some of the members on there did try to introduce a resolution asking for kind of just it really was just going to be a pro forma statement, wouldn't be binding in any way, to oppose the National Guard coming. And the majority black city council, majority Democrat, was able to get enough votes to pass that motion. And I think there are residents in the community, particularly community activists, organizers, who are really disappointed by that. It was going to be purely symbolic, and that you can't get a majority elected body in a majority black city to support that, I think, was disappointing. The council member that brought that forward was J.B. Smiley, and he's actually running for county mayor. And so it'll be interesting to see how these dynamics play out in the political space in next year's county races.
So any idea how long will this federal intervention last? Is there a deadline?
That's a good question. The governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee, who's a Republican, has said that while the surge of officers will decline at some point, he expects the coordination with the task force to last forever. Forever was the word that he used. And so I think that is also creating a great deal of uncertainty among residents who feel like they're being surveilled. Like, is this going to be a permanent thing, or will there be some end to this insight?
Wow. That is obviously a whole lot. Community groups, civil rights groups, are they mobilizing, organizing, or are they doing anything to help residents?
Yeah, Memphis has a great tradition of protesting and activism, of course. The organization that I founded 8 years ago, MLK 50, Justice Through Journalism, is in the memory and honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, who, of course, came to Memphis to support striking sanitation workers. And so we have that tradition and legacy here in Memphis. And so you have seen community organizers rise up around that. There's a campaign called Free the 901. 901 is the area code here in Memphis. And that's a coalition, I think, more than 20 organizations that have come together to protest what they see as an occupation and militarization of Memphis. And I think one of their primary concerns is that no one disputes, Roland, that crime is high in Memphis. No one disputes that. I think the challenge becomes in what is the solution to that? Is it just police? Is it just more law enforcement? And I think the Free the 901 campaign would want to see more examination of the root causes of crime, particularly poverty, in a city that still has a really high poverty rate. And so they're looking at things like violence interruption, more investment in education, mental health care, healthcare access, mass transit, and those kind of broader solutions, I think, have been absent. The conversation that's been dominated by task force, federal agents, and what some feel is a militarization of this community.
Our panel is Rebecca Carruthers, President, CEO, Fair Election Center out of D.C. Also joining us is Cameron Trimble, CEO, HIP Politics and Media, and former White House Senior Advisor. Niambi Carter, Associate Professor, School of Public Policy, University of Maryland. Author of American While Black, African Americans, Immigration, The Limits of Citizenship. Rebecca, your question for Wendy.
Wendy, thank you for being on the show tonight. As we prepare for next year, I'm thinking about how the midterms elections have started right now. And you're talking about your city and a lot of people feeling scared. Do you think there's going to be an impact in civic engagement over the next 12 months? I hear you about how community is doing different community care things, but what is the policy action that people are going to be pressed to move on in response to what's happening in Memphis right now?
Yeah, I think you will see. I'm not a pollster. I'm just an investigative journalist. But I would be surprised if this did not result in more political involvement here in Memphis. We are gearing up for more local races, county commission, school board. And so while not necessarily statewide races, we are gearing up for that. And I think a lot of residents are looking to see where candidates are standing on some of these key issues. Are they looking for more holistic solutions to crime, or do they favor an approach that Trump and Bill Lee and other Republicans are offering here? So it'll be interesting to see.
Cameron.
Thank you. This is a really interesting report. Question: what areas as this presence increased? Like I visit Memphis often, have family there, and it feels like this is as it was here for us in DC, an intimidation tactic, or it's something just show of force? Like, is this like just limited to, say, the high traffic areas like a Beale Street in downtown, or are they really focusing on a lot of the Black neighborhoods or low income neighborhoods?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. I was actually at the Grizzlies game on Monday and walked down Beale Street and saw, I think it was 3 or 4 Memphis police officers, mounted police officers on horses, some FBI agents, Homeland Security agents, and then National Guardsmen at every kind of corner around there. And so you are seeing that heavy presence downtown on Beale Street in a tourist area, but you're also seeing it in a lot of Hispanic neighborhoods along corridors where there are a lot of Hispanic or immigrant-owned communities. You are seeing it in some of the higher crime neighborhoods, but in a lot of the lower crime and predominantly white neighborhoods, to be frankly, you're not seeing that sort of presence. And so I think it's almost like the blind man and the elephant, right? And so there are segments of the community that aren't seeing any sort of increased law enforcement presence. And so I think for them, it's really easy to feel like it's not a militarization, but then for others of us who are seeing that constantly, I think they're more concerned about what this means and what public safety really looks like.
Niambi?
Thank you, Wendy. I was just curious about how you connect the presence of the National Guard and other things, along with like the data centers. Like, how is Memphis being used politically right now? Not just in the state of Tennessee, but nationally for other ends. Like, how do you connect these various, I guess you could say, experiments, for lack of a better word, on the city of Memphis?
Yeah, it's really interesting that you bring up XAI and data centers. XAI is Elon Musk's big foray into artificial intelligence. It's, I think, the largest supercomputer in the world. That's what it's been billed as. And it's been built in Southwest Memphis, in a neighborhood that has already suffered a lot of environmental pollution, environmental racism. And actually the story that I wrote before this task force story was about that data center and the Chamber of Commerce's role in kind of smoothing the path for Elon Musk and XI to come here. As far as some kind of larger plan, I am not personally aware of one, but I think that there are a lot of residents who do feel like Memphis is somehow become a focus. I don't want to say necessarily a target, but that maybe richer people have noticed and aware of some of the advantages the community has, particularly our water supply. We have an amazing aquifer under here, and data centers need a lot of water, right? A lot of people don't think it's a mistake that Elon is here, and they wonder if this expanded military presence is in part to protect property and these capital investments and not necessarily the people who live here in this community.
All right, then. All right, Wendy, we certainly appreciate it. Keep us abreast of what happens.
Of course. Thank you so much, Roland.
All right, thanks so much.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.